fascinated by fungi in North Carolina.
I'm out here in Asheville, North Carolina. Come for a walk in the woods with me and let's see what we can find. Here's an interesting area. I can see a couple of things happening here. There is first a big Russula mushroom that is breaking out from the ground. That's Russula breviipes, and there's some smaller ones here that are just starting to emerge. I'm gonna pick this one, show you guys the bottom. Sounds pretty solid. Nice little pick there. You can see it's already being chewed on by bugs. Russulas are known as brittle gills because their gills break really easily. Some core defining features. This mushroom is edible. It's a little acrid, spicy, bitter, tannic kind of thing, horseradish, chemical burn. But you can boil it and then it's a pretty decent edible. And in some places they prefer this to a lot of other mushrooms. It's also the one that gets parasitized by Hypomyces lactiflorum to become a lobster mushroom. I haven't seen any of those out here yet, but they do occur here. So if you find something that looks kind of like this, but it's all red or orange and warped and you can't actually see the gills, then you've got a lobster mushroom. But I'll put this back right in there for now. And over here, I can see some tainted Swillus spraguei that's getting a little bit old. And there's one that's just completely covered by mold. So this is a Hypomyces chrysosperma, most likely. Let's see if I can pop it over. Maybe you can see the underside is completely colonized. So this is a different kind of Hypomyces, not a lobster mushroom, but related. And it's completely taken over the mushroom. So the whole thing's been castrated by this mold. And now the mushroom is just a mold spore production factory, basically. This one does not make the painted Swillus a better edible like the lobster mushroom. In fact, it makes it toxic and bitter and awful. So don't eat those all white boletes where everything's kind of covered up by a mold. That's dangerous. Bad idea. This right here is kind of an interesting find. We spotted it off the trail and it's yellow, kind of fuzzy. So let's see if I can get down to this thing without crushing anything else. Let's take a look. My first guess might be a Dyer's polypore, but I want to look underneath. So yeah, there we go. See those kind of like toothy, almost gill-like pores underneath? This is Phalia schwitznii, the Dyer's polypore. It's really fuzzy and yellow on top. When it gets old, it kind of turns dark brown and dries out. If I mess around with the pores surface at all, it will stain a little blackish brown, same as it does when it ages. This is an excellent mushroom for dyeing fabric. It is inedibly bitter and possibly toxic. I don't think anyone really knows because no one eats it, but it's a really cool looking mushroom. It does glow under UV, and you can use it to make henna dye, which is really cool. But Dyer's polypore is just a phenomenal, interesting, beautiful mushroom, and it can last for quite a long time. On the forest floor, you'll see old ones from the year prior. But I mostly just enjoy looking at it. And I'll hang on to this one to give my friend who dyes fabrics. And maybe she can make some beautiful green or yellow dyes out of this mushroom. Whoa, you see this shaggy looking amanita? It's a little dried out, but I think this is Coker's amanita. It has all these scales on it and a big old fat vulva. When you're IDing or trying to ID amanitas, it's really important that you dig them up by the base, so you can see the vulva, this base area of the mushroom, because it has some distinguishing characteristics that help you tell what species it is. It has to do with, like, is it sac-shaped? Is it egg-shaped? Is there, like, a thing sitting in there? Or is, it sort of solid like this one is? There's a lot of things to keep an eye out for. The size and texture of the veil, partial veil. All the amanita gills will be white. Texture on the cap, all sorts of stuff to look at for when you look at amanitas. I'm gonna move away because that little guy looks angry and I don't want to be anywhere near him, but that's an amanita and there's a moldy Swillus. So here's one of my favorite edible mushrooms I find out here in North Carolina. This is Lactifluus corrugus, and this one's a little dried out, so I'll show you another one. There's one that's been kind of chewed on by bugs here. I've got a couple nice ones in my bag already. Here's one that looks decent. And so this is a milk cap mushroom. So it puts out a lot of goo, kind of milky stuff when you score it. But they're pretty solid. They're pretty decent edibles. It's really cool when you injure them. I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, wow. This is a nice big chunk of Dyer's polypore. So I got rained on a little bit earlier. That's why it has dots on top. But look at that. Beautiful rosette. So this is growing on conifer roots, probably wood deep down in the ground. And it's a brown rot, so it'll come back year after year, probably infecting the same tree. Not really killing the tree, but just being a mild parasite. It's so fuzzy, soft. It's one of my favorite mushrooms to just feel. It's such a cool texture. Anyhow, that's the Dyer's polypore. Here's some interesting polypores. Let's see. See the rings of growth growing on wood. Gonna guess there's pores underneath, and indeed there are pores right here. So you can call this a polypore. This one's actually a little toothy. You can see here, this is why it's a polypore, because there's lots of little tubes hanging down from the cap there. And so it has this appearance underneath. These tend to grow on dead wood. Some of them are medicinal. Very few of these kind of woody, thin ones are actually edible because they're too hard and woody to enjoy as food. But you can turn them into decorations or some tinctures and medicines and stuff like that. But I don't think this is turkey tail. It's a different one. Turkey tail has little tiny pores, and this is more toothy underneath, but it's still very cool looking. Nice kind of velvety texture on those things. It's pretty cool. Here's a beautiful little reishi mushroom. See that? And then right beside it are the nascent forms. So these will grow out and turn into little shelves just like that. What a cool find. Whoa, check out all this orange stuff. This is some pretty old and gross omphallotus, but this is the jack-o'-lanterns, probably illudens, but it's growing all over saprotrophically, parasitically on this stuff. There's another big cluster of it right there. So this is one of the things people get confused with chanterelles, but you can see at this point it's in big clusters and it has actual gills. It's covered in mold, but you wouldn't mistake it for a chanterelle right now, but these are toxic. Do not eat them. Jack-o'-lantern mushrooms. This is Lactopluis volumus or volumus, and it's another milk cap that bleeds quite a bit of latex, but it's a little bit lighter in color than Corrigus, so it has a more orangey cap and stem, a little less sort of like purpley or brown like the Corrigus, but it does bleed just as much, especially when the specimen is young. So check that out. It's pretty cool. They do this to prevent the bugs and slugs from gnawing on them before they are ready. So when they're mature, they don't really bleed. Right now they do. It's just super cool looking. Check that out. Wow. Ooh, these are cool. These are pine saps. They're a Monotropa species. I think it's Monotropa hypophyteces or something like that. Anyhow, these are related to ghost pipes. They are microheterotrophic plants, so they don't do any photosynthesis. There's no green part of the plant. There's a deep rhizome, kind of like a hunk of ginger, down in the ground, and that rhizome parasitizes the mycelium of mushrooms that are associated with trees. And so together the together these pine saps and the mushroom mycelium and the tree are all part of the native ecology of these forests, and helps to kind of strengthen all the mycelial bonds between trees and create different levels of parasitism and nutrient sharing between these organisms. But aren't they just gorgeous, gorgeous flowers? I love these. They're so cool. What an amazing plant. Ooh, check this out. It's not much, but I got a couple little pieces of Hericin coraloides, the coral tooth. So this is a lion's mane relative. It's a white rot fungi growing here on dead wood. It is edible, and it is just so cool looking. It's not as round as a lion's mane, but it is really toothy, just like it. It has a very similar flavor, although the texture is a little bit more crab and lobster-like because it's more toothy instead of being round. So it's one of my favorite mushrooms to eat and find, Hericin coraloides. Woohoo! I love hunting in this stream bed habitat here in North Carolina. So many cool mushrooms. that are growing. There's some lactarius down there. Saw a bolete behind me. There's some of those beautiful little red chanterelles. There's a green cracking russula. And over here is one of my favorite finds I've ever seen. This is part of why I came to North Carolina. This is calostoma, or the aspic puffball. When they're fresh, they have this like weird jelly layer around the stipe. And this weird little part here poofs out some spores. So it's kind of a puffball, even though it has a stalk. But what a cool mushroom. Calostoma. This is pretty cool. I just found some chanterelles. Awesome. They're looking a little ratty, a little dried out, so I don't think I'm gonna pick these as food. I just want to show you these pretty little chanterelles growing down here in this creek bed. So, like I said, they're a little blown out. I don't think they'd have the best taste or texture right now, so I'm gonna leave them where they are. But you can see a little bit of the white spore deposit. You can definitely see those decurrent gills or ridges on the bottom side of these true chanterelles or cantharellus. It's pretty cool. This is such a pretty little creek. Look at this habitat. There's all sorts of cool mushrooms and life along the side of this little stream. I'm here looking for a specific truffle that grows on stream beds and is edible. It's called the Appalachian truffle. Amaya, I think, something like that is the genus name. But I'm just peeking around looking for it. I don't know if I'm going to find any. I'm just looking for little sort of reddish lumps on the side of the stream here, hoping that maybe I can find a truffle. That'd be really cool. I just wanted to show you guys how pretty this habitat was. And look at all the ferns and the trees. God, it's so gorgeous here in North Carolina. Ooh, there's a more bright chanterelle that's not quite as meaty. This is Cantharellus cinnabarus. Just want to show you the longer gills on this. They're a little less ridge-like. Ooh, there's a spider. Hey there. And it's much, much more vibrant. So this one can be a little acrid. People don't necessarily love it as an edible, but it's a really, really pretty one. And you'll see them all the time in stream beds, just like this, sometimes growing in huge numbers. In fact, there's one over there. So that's pretty cool. Cantharellus cinnabarus. Cinnabar chanterelle. Woo! What an amazing stream bed. There's my friend Heather. We're out hiking around, checking out this incredible temperate rainforest. It is so lush and verdant and beautiful here. Look at this weirdo mushroom. It's got caps growing out of the stem. So it's really nice and goopy and wet. But look at this. There's like mushrooms coming out of the stem. That is so wild. What's this called again?
Chocolate milk cup.
Chocolate milk cab? Yes, it's some kind of lactarius, but that's so cool. God, just look at this. This is incredible. It's so moist and gorgeous here. I love the temperate rainforest and all the moss and tree diversity. What a beautiful biome. Hey, buddy! We found a crawdad in the middle of the trail here, and he is feisty. He wants to defend himself. He's taking no shit from nobody. Ain't nobody challenging you. You just keep bubbling at me, keep snapping at me. Yeah, he's good. And that's a strong grip, dude. You're good. Nice. Thank you for showing off. How cool. Wow. Bunch of Joe Pye weed. That's super cool.
I mean, that was not here at the beginning of the season, and now it's so big.
Wow. Check this out. Love walking around in the rain. So cool.
Clematis.
Clematis?
Sounds
Okay.
like STD.
Clematis STD plant. There you go. That's pretty cool.
Elderberry.
Oh, elderberries. Okay.
Yeah, and these clematis and the elderberry, you're going to see both toes.
Very cool.
Solid.
Out here in a bog, found some elderberries. Let's try them out. Good. Fruity, a little crunchy. Not bad. This has been such an amazing adventure out here in North Carolina. I just absolutely love the habitat here. It's so green, so lush, so beautiful. You gotta come check out Asheville in North Carolina as a mushroom region.
Great diversity of mushrooms in North Carolina. Lactarius corrugus, cinnabar chanterelle, pine saps, golden chanterelle, Lactarius indigo, red chanterelle, Foliota under UV light, Cordyceps dauceps, Fistulina beefsteak, Lichen under UV, Helvella, oh so fuzzy, Lactifluus guttation, Hypomyces luteovirescens, Coltricia, Earth stars and raspberry slime mold, Hericium coral tooth, Oreoboletus golden pores, Guttation under UV, my favorite Lactarius indigo. Thanks for watching. Comment if you want more videos like this.